Hello, Star Wars fans. Sorry about the delay. Melon's not cooperating with me today, but there are just 24 days until Christmas 2022. Oh, it's December 1st, and we are deep into the holiday season. Santa Claus visits are up. I've got a parade tomorrow I'll be doing here locally, and then Saturday all day going out to places here in Central Ohio and doing some Santa Claus stuff. And Sunday, we are deep into the season. So I have put in this scroll at the bottom how you could do a virtual visit with me as Santa Claus. And you can find me on North Pole Wireless Maringo on Gig Salad. And if you go there, you can find my calendar. You can request a quote. You can ask for a virtual visit and give me a date time you'd like to do that. And then we can start getting those scheduled. I've already got one scheduled and looking forward to that. And we have some regulars who join us for Santa visits every year. Ducky Momo, I've done those with him for a few years. And of course, Fanjecture, Adam Douglas, done several with him. And my good friend Vanessa Floria. Vanessa had a wonderful visit with her and her children last year. Her grown men, boys, her boys, just wonderful, wonderful people. And had the ability to spend some time with them as Santa Claus. It was wonderful. And Dominic Rucco, this abomination of a background that I have is because I lost a bet. My team lost to this team. Hate it. It makes me sad. But I follow through on my bets. And so we've got this. We've got Michigan planting the flag on in Ohio Stadium. Just wrong. It's all wrong. So it's good. Yes, Meg is in the chat. She's not chill enough to be invited to the stream. Meg. I love you, Meg. And we'll be talking about Star Wars tomorrow, I hope, with Meg and with Jason. But we've got our Guardians of the Whills today. Got a couple of guests that we're going to bring in just a second. And I want to catch up in the chat. Kay, I saw you here. I need your mailing address and what you want. We had a wonderful, let me pull this up, for Andor. During the season, we did weekly predictions. And we had 3 people beat Santa on the season for predictions. Of course, we have Baymax, Matt Risman, and Kay. Kay, I've already got the orders from Baymax and Matt. I would love to get your order in for some Star Wars Santa merch. So I've reached out to you on Discord. If you're not in Discord, if you could shoot me an email. I don't have your email address. I don't have a way to contact you outside of that. If you'll contact me, I will get your merch ordered and get that sent out to you right away. So hope to see you there. Thank you so much. And you guys are giving me a hard time. Yes, I know. Mike Porter's here. Mike Porter, another Star Wars joke tomorrow. I'm hoping so. And I've got yours queued up for today as well. You guys, let's get into the content of the day. I do want to talk about some Star Wars news, and I want to talk about Andor just a little bit more. And I've got 2 friends. I've got Jedi Mike and Levi Bond from All New Nerds. It's been a long time since we've been able to talk, Levi. It's good to see you.
I'm muted. I was muted. A classic.
There you go.
Classic melon blunder on my behalf. It's been too long. I'm excited to be here. No matter how many times I see that Santa intro, probably dozens of times now, it gets me every time. It gets me excited. I believe in Santa. There he is. He's on my water bottle. Every time I'll do it, there he is.
Oh my goodness. Yes, you got one of my stickers when you won one of the giveaways. That's great.
Yeah.
Nikki. Yeah, exactly. You're one time. I know there's other people who probably got a whole pile of them, a box full of stickers. Right. So good. And Mike, good to see you again this week. Thanks for joining the discussion today.
Thanks, man. I'm psyched because I love the philosophy of Star Wars and the philosophy of many things.
Well, very good. Hey, so there's a story that Bespin reported yesterday. I'd like to talk with a little bit about with you guys. Let me bring it up here, and we'll go through it, and then we'll talk about it. Oh, Knights of Melvin's here. Melvin, shills. Yes, I know, Melvin. I know. Look, I own it. That's what I am. And Levi as well. And I enjoy Melvin's takes on things. His content. He's quite witty. He's really good. And if you want to catch some fun content, go catch Knights of Melvin. And his shill scale is quite good. I fall pretty far over on the shill side. Just to tell you the truth, like the fake fan. Shill side. I'm deep into that.
Memes. Yeah.
Right?
I've seen the scale.
Now, Jedi Mike, on the other hand, a bit right.
I don't know where I am.
You're in.
I literally do not know where I am in the middle of the Star Wars fandom, and that's okay.
You are nowhere near deep into the Knights of Melvin shill scale as Levi and I are. Like you're way. It's not even close. You're so it's good to have you guys here and to talk. And thanks for dropping into the chat, Melvin. Good to see you, Nikki. So let's talk about this article that came up here. It says the Acolyte, Daphne Keane, best known for work in Logan and HBO series His Dark Materials. By the way, have you guys seen this show, His Dark Materials?
I've seen the first episode.
Yeah, I have not watched it.
I liked it.
But I know how beautiful it looks. I mean, it looks incredible, and if it's based on books and reading, I'm all for it.
Yeah, exactly. I watched it. It is beautiful. The effects in it and the look of it is wonderful. But I did not enjoy the story itself. It didn't appeal to me. It was kind of slow and boring.
Listen, I just think polar bears are cool. That's my take on His Dark Materials.
Yeah, exactly. Lost and polar bears are so deep in my heart. I literally have a polar bear with a lost dog tag on it. I can get that later. I have also my Filoniverse hat, and I have many other hats. So just let me know if you need props.
That's great. That's great. So this Daphne Keane says she briefly discussed the upcoming Star Wars series created by Leslie Headland, which is currently filming in the UK. Keane said couldn't say much, but she did slip the series will see the Sith infiltrate the Jedi Order. And let's read the quote here, and then we'll talk about it. I could tease that it's a prequel. No, I mean, it's set 100 years before the prequels. And it's kind of an explanation of how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi. It's a Sith-led story, which has never been done before. It's been really fun to film. The cast is amazing. The director and crew are just lovely. The whole experience is wonderful, and I'm already excited for people to see it. Of course, actors have said this kind of thing before, like all killer, no filler. We've seen some.
Remember that?
That was the director, right?
That was the director
and showrunner.
Oh my goodness!
Right. So yeah,
at least
I tell you,
McGregor didn't I don't know. Now, anyway.
Right. I just say that because take it with a grain of salt. Like one of the worst things you could do is get your expectations through the roof for something, and then just be really good. Right. Then it makes it seem like, oh, that was terrible. It was not even close to what we were hoping for. So just take it a little grain of salt. Look, she's involved in the show. She loves it. She's happy, and she's hoping it gets renewed for many seasons, and her career will continue. I would imagine. So,
and contrary art is exciting. Like the opposite perspective in something could be exciting to an artist like that.
Absolutely. And I saw the community. Your birthday is coming right up. The community. Happy December birthday to you, my friend. Happy birthday. From the perspective of the Sith infiltrating the Jedi, I'll let you guys give your first thoughts on that. What do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting the term infiltrate, because up until this point, our understanding of that 1,000 years between Darth Bane and Plagueis and Palpatine is that the Sith are on the outside looking in, and then obviously, are pulling Jedi out, like someone like Dooku, as we just saw in Tales of the Jedi, but they weren't actually in the Order. So this notion that there might be some sort of, because we don't know in canon, we don't really know in Legends either, some of this time period, that there could be an infiltration of the Sith, like literally joining the Order. I don't know, that's really interesting to me. And Daphne Keene, I'm not sure what role in the story she's going to play, because we've gotten the description that we have a Jedi and a master and a former Padawan investigating crimes. And Daphne Keene is, she's 4'11", she's 18, she's always cast in like these very particular roles. And I'm like, is she going to be a Sith apprentice? Will she be like a Jedi apprentice? I don't know. I'm excited to see. I have nothing but high hopes for the Acolyte, especially after seeing Andor, and I loved Andor, and with that, Pinewood production, the English production quality behind it, I have high hopes. So I'm excited though.
Excellent.
I'm only thinking of like Avar Chris and how I didn't say that name right. I'm just thinking about how Jedi back in the High Republic were even more open. So like the ambiguity of Dooku, like we're just learning about that ambiguity, and the High Republic has a lot of space to explore the Force, which I enjoy. I'm a Last Jedi Force explorer. Like I like thinking about the different planets and the different way that happens. So I'm interested in that aspect. But yeah, speculation about what actor's playing what. I do not need to tell people how to plot their show.
Well, well put. As far as I think about Jedi or Sith infiltrating the Jedi, and Meg, I see your super chat. It's right over my noggin. I'm over here. Hello. No. It's sort of a gray to me because we know that Dooku was a Jedi Master, and he left the Order to become. He left the Order, then he became a Sith, and I wonder a little bit about. Who was it that started the clone army? Sifo Dyas. Yeah, Sifo Dyas. Sifo Dyas was being manipulated, but I don't know exactly what his connection was to being a Sith in the Jedi Order. Like there's some like insider knowledge within the Sith of the Jedi, but seeing an actual active Sith in the Jedi Order being both at the same time, I don't think has been done. So yeah, I think it's interesting to me. That's all I say. It's interesting to me, and I'm curious to see how it plays out. To Jedi Mike's order, like I'm not one to tell them how to do their show. It's their show. I'll watch it and then I'll decide like, did I like it or did I not? I don't know. We'll see. I'm very optimistic in what I've heard so far, and I've really enjoyed the High Republic series, and seeing something set in this time frame and the possibilities excite me.
Well, speaking of that High Republic era, I've been looking at my phone here. I pulled up a couple quotes from Leslie Headland, because this is technically in the High Republic, but much the same way that Dooku Jedi Lost or Master and Apprentice is in the High Republic, where it's the very, very tail end of this era. It's not what we're reading in the novels is about how the Jedi go from, I can just read it here. She says the High Republic is golden in so many ways. The Jedi uniforms are gold and white, and it's almost like they would never get dirty. But by the time of the Phantom Menace, and Leslie Headland often, she says she's drawing upon the Phantom Menace the most, in her, when she's writing this. It's not going well at the expense of what? What is not being attended to? Who are we turning a blind eye to so that could lead to the rise of someone like Palpatine about a century later? Yes, it's one bad guy, but it's one bad guy that completely undermines the entire system of government. A lot of other things must have been going on beneath the surface, and we know the Jedi completely missed this. So the Jedi that she's going to be exploring are the, Phantom Menace Council. Like, she brings it up in a couple quotes. Like, they don't even really react when Qui-Gon's like, yo, I have the chosen one, and I just fought a Sith on Tatooine. And they're like, huh? They're like, okay, like, I guess. Like, it's like she points out in many of these quotes, they're nonchalant. Like, they don't really, it's almost as if they don't care. Like, something has been lost versus the Jedi of the High Republic, who as Mike said, they're very open, they're free, they're going into it. And so I don't know, I think these Jedi will be different than the High Republic ones we stereotypically think about.
And I think this is cool because when we get into the discussion of the speeches in Andor, your topic today, I mean, this just goes to people's motivation, or are they blind to stuff because of their pain, right? Like the Jedi Order had to adjust with all these things that are happening, and we're just reading about it now. If you're a comic book High Republic reader and stuff, many things are happening at different levels. And so what makes someone detach? It's interesting.
Well, I'll just say, like, long periods of peace breed apathy. And if the High Republic era is kind of characterized by a long period of peace, you could understand how that could work itself into the culture of the Jedi Order itself, like one of apathy and being too self-aware, too self-focused. You see that in political cases where countries become very isolationist, right? And there's pullback even within, say, the United States now that say, hey, the world's problems are the world's problems. Let's just, xenophobia, right?
I'm even thinking about seminarians, right? Seminarians, people of faith that study different stuff. One becomes a little bit more detached and they get more into what they have to do to practice their faith, and then they lose a little bit of the sight, right? So it could be interesting to see how these Jedi's problems over 200 years lead to them like having blinders on, maybe.
Yeah, and I just started the second phase of the High Republic novels, which, by the way, I'm enjoying immensely. The second
phase. Can you
phase.
see how the color palette might be changing too? To
well,
Levi's
I really
right?
wish
the color palette is going in a certain way.
Yeah, I really wish that the High Republic came out in chronological order. That this phase 2 was phase 1. I think it would have played a lot better, because by the time you get to the great incident, right, the hyperspace incident, there's so many characters and there's so much going on that a lot of people just dropped out right away. Like, I can't follow. I don't know what's going on. I don't care. Right, and they just didn't care, and I'm out. Meg also, she tried to read it and got into it and said, "Nah, it's not for me. I'm out."
I don't want to turn into a whole High Republic discussion, but I'm not sure if I agree. but
in any event, seeing that, I get back to the main topic of the article again. Bespin Bulletin. You guys make sure you go check Bespin Bulletin out. If you're not already have Bespin Bulletin saved as a favorite, go out there, save it as a favorite. Check them often. You should do that. So do that, Meg. You're hilarious. I read the font correct. She actually read more than it.
Sorry. One exciting thing could be, right, getting into the spirituality of the Sith. So maybe we don't even go that. Maybe we start seeing how the Sith spirituality led to them infiltrating. Like, well, there are many different plot angles that could be exciting and intriguing.
Well, you're kind of touching base again on this second phase of the High Republic, because we are seeing the foundations of where Marchion Ro, his ideology, we're seeing the foundations of how that got built. Not the Sith, but Marchion Ro is not Sith, but just as an example.
Yeah, the High Republic is particularly good at exploring different ways to look at the Force. Like in Phase 2 especially, yes. In the comic, like I've read some of the comics and I'm reading Path of Deceit right now, but what Jeddah is and all these different churches coming together and different ways of looking at this one thing. But to the Acolyte, I mean, this show it's called The Acolyte. It was announced as a dark side focused show. Somebody is the Acolyte in the show. Someone is looking up to someone else on the dark side. And we're gonna, like, I just don't know, but also it's like a mystery. But we're following the Jedi. I'm so excited to see how narratively this is gonna play out. Because we just.
And look, I'm being completely honest. I think that the number of fans who are consuming High Republic content is quite low, just from a perception standpoint, which doesn't surprise me a lot, because when has Lucasfilm Publishing really excited the fandom around content? And I'll answer this question that came up earlier. Like, why does Lucasfilm hate the Old Republic, right? The Old Republic era. And I think it's unfair to say that they hate it, but let's be clear about what the Old Republic era is, right? It was prior to Disney purchasing Lucasfilm. It was primarily publishing and games. In fact, it was almost entirely publishing and games.
Yeah, in fact, it was all publishing and games. Yeah.
So I just think at this point we have to say, the bulk of Star Wars fans, like, and I talked to Meg about this earlier. The vast majority of Star Wars fans watch the movies and they move on with their lives. Right? They buy a T-shirt, they maybe get a Lego set, and they move on with their lives. They're not playing. Yeah, they're certainly not engaged in the YouTube community or Twitter sphere, Star Wars community. The vast majority of Star Wars fans, people who have watched the movies, love Star Wars. They're not engaging on it in a regular day-to-day basis. They have no idea what the High Republic or Old Republic or, my aunt's Republic, whatever. They don't care, right? they just that one movie. You remember the one that had whoever, right? That's basic knowledge of a general Star Wars fan. They're just not that deep into the lore and the content. And when we interact on a daily basis, and we're reading the novels and we're playing the games, some of us, I don't play the games, but that puts us in a much smaller group. And then that group isolates itself even further, and then we begin to divide on who likes what, right?
Yeah, if you're not informed about Luke's journey before he gets to Octo and like all the different Force people that he came with, or if you have never read the Thrawn stuff and understand the Chiss perspective, right? Because Marshawn Rowe is just a Chiss bad guy, or whatever. They're opening it up, which is pretty smart for me.
I can hear Rose, right? I can hear her singing in the background. Rose is Jedi Mike's daughter. She's 3, and I got to visit with her before we came on live.
A new Hope. She was the new Hope to our family, the third.
Hope. Sorry about that. Yeah, Hope. So great. I just wanted to kind of get onto our main topic of the day. It's good to discuss this, and we could certainly go on and on and on about it. But I want to get.
You don't know enough yet. I don't think we know enough yet.
Yeah, look. The more we get on the Acolyte, the more optimistic I become, and the more excited I get to see it. But that's still a ways off, right? Like, they've begun filming. We may get it next year. We don't.
I think
know
at
exactly
earliest,
when.
like December. It'd be like Book of Boba Fett for 2021. I think this is a 2024 show.
Yeah. A couple of notes in the chat. I see you guys talking about the cake. If you guys don't know about the cake, you're better off. Trust me on this.
Watch out for dark cheeks also.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the cake, you're better off. And you can find it in Star Wars Meg's Discord in a very isolated channel. It's certainly not something that is mainstream.
Meg keeps the Star Wars community. She keeps it spicy. She keeps it real.
She does keep it spicy. She's a spicy nugget. Yeah. Or, as she likes to say, she likes to say Skittle.
Spicy dumpling.
I remember Meg calling Sheev, and this sort of started it. She called Sheev a spicy Skittle. Well, you're a spicy Skittle, aren't you? So that sort of started Skittle Rangers and all of that. We've had a lot of fun playing off of that quote from Meg. And if you haven't seen Meg's video today, she talks a little bit about some filming going on, and I put a comment in there about she's going to make a wee trip over to Wales, and there's an inside joke on that as well. So you got to watch the show regularly to understand the inside joke on Meg making a wee trip.
She was camping.
Yeah, just camping.
Sure.
Let's put it that way. Thank you, Mike. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Someone made the comment earlier that if YouTube saw this chat, they'd be so confused. Like, imagine like some like they think like they're talking in code, like some censor is like reading the chat. Like, what is happening? Like, nothing is. It's all just code.
It is. There's a lot of insider chat going on, and it benefits you to be a member of the community and watch all of us all the time.
Only $1 Patreon. Only for
$1. That's right. And I'm glad you bring that up, Mike, because you can interact with the show just by contributing $1 a month in Patreon, and you can submit questions. I'll read them during the live stream, and we'll answer any questions there, given that it's semi-appropriate and I can do that, right? Like, I can't share the cake. Not going to share the cake. That's not happening. So there's...
Hey, Santa, I hope before we get into the speeches, I hope we can hear from Levi's Andor take also.
Oh, sure. So let me just introduce. There's a poll for the show today, and I asked, what's your favorite monologue? Luthen, Maarva, or Nemik? And there's one that I left out that was brought up in the chat. In the prison.
Kino Loy.
Kino Loy. I should have included Kino. I forgot about that as I was preparing for the show today. And I didn't get Kino's speech written out so that I could share it with everybody. I did get the other three in there. So if you pick between the three, given that Santa forgot Kino, sorry about that. My bad. But if... just
swim, so was it worth
it? Well, okay. If you want to vote, whose speech was your favorite? Right now, Luthen has a very, very strong lead, and we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, overall, now that Andor is concluded, I've seen several folks have started to binge watch the entire show. They waited for it to be over, and then they were just binging the whole show at once. What are your general takes for the series as a whole, and how would you rate it out of 10? So, Levi, we'll let you go first, and then circle around.
I'm pretty strong on this show. If you want my more long form thoughts, I've been covering it on and off over on our channel. But I mean, this to me is like as close to you can get as a 10, if not a 10. This is like perfect Star Wars for me. This sits like right below. If I had to rank all of Star Wars, this would be like right below the original trilogy. This to me is excellent. I don't know. I love every part about it. The acting, the directing, the way it looks, even the bricks and screws. I love my bricks and screws. So I don't know. Yeah, it's
that's so funny.
So Mike Porter taking a spin off of a comment that came in one of my chats. So again, it's very inside baseball, right? The chat. There was actually a young person who came into my chat probably almost a year ago who said something about, I got kicked off my basketball team. Do you have, like, it was an earnest, like, this question the guy asked in my chat. And I'm like, oh, we're talking about Star Wars. I don't know what to tell you, life advice on getting back onto your basketball team. And so he hasn't been in our chat.
If you want that.
But they keep his memory alive in the chat, talking about getting back on the basketball team. And Mike Porter, a wonderful, wonderful spin on that original comment. Got kicked off the bakery team. Do you have any advice getting back on the team? Hilarious and tie into the cake. Mike Porter, nice job. Nice job.
A joke is always funny when you have to take at least 2 minutes to explain it.
Yes, yes.
That's what they say.
So 10 out of 10 for you.
Yeah, I love
it.
Mike, just for folks that are joining, what would you
give
it out
if
of 10?
You follow along. I mean, I was with you guys every week, one at a time. And so there were 8.5s, there were 9.5s. I think the overall for me was 9. The soundtrack, definitely a 10 for me because they are pushing it. The production, the Pinewood, everything that Levi was talking about, 9.5 also for me. But yeah, overall as a story and stuff, it worked as a 9. And I've seen it, twice. The second time I watched it with the best wife in the galaxy, my boo. And I tried to get her before she went off to work today to give me her 2 takes, but she loves it. She loves Andor. So
Great. That's great. I haven't got Mrs. Claus to watch it with me yet. She's like, nah, I don't care. So, but she's not a Star Wars fan. She has never watched the prequel trilogy through. She's watched a little bit of it, said this is dumb, and she left. And that's it. That's she's checked out. With the original trilogy, she could take it or leave it. Some of it she's seen, some of it she just doesn't care about. And she enjoys The Force Awakens, but after that, she's again typical Star Wars. She's like, it's okay, it's good. But she liked The Mandalorian, and that's about it. After that, she's not really engaged with the other shows, and she has no interest at all in watching Andor. So this is the way it is. But I thought this was a very, very well written show. The writing, the acting, the cinematography, all of that, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Within Star Wars universe, as far as like fantastic Star Wars content, I give it maybe 8.5. Right? You don't have, I think there's some valid criticisms. It doesn't have Sith, it doesn't have Jedi, it doesn't have the Force, it doesn't have the kind of things that caught our imaginations back in 1977 when I saw the Star Wars in the theater. So it didn't have those things, but as far as the rest of it goes, 10 out of 10, 8.5 on the Star Wars show. And then I don't share Mike's enthusiasm for the score. The score was up and down for me. Some of it was brilliant, loved it. 10 out of 10. Some of it I was like, whatever. So I give it maybe
for the moment or in general.
No, in general, I give it a 9 out of 10.
No, I just meant the music.
Good.
That's a whole nother show. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So as a whole, the show for me is maybe a 9 out of 10 overall. I loved, and I think that it has. I mentioned this before. Once season 2 comes out, and we get to follow the story all the way through season 1 and 2 of Andor and the movie Rogue One, I think by the time those all play out, it may rise to a 10 out of 10 for me. But we're not there yet. So I
didn't feel it was a 10 till I saw the last episode. I loved all of it, but it was about the way it resolved, the way I love shows that are able to not only stick the landing just entertainment wise, but they were able to execute on everything it wanted to set out to do and like say about a certain thing. Like it started in a certain place and it ended exactly where I wanted to, and all of it got across. And I think exactly the way Tony Gilroy wanted to do it. And there are a lot of I think well-founded criticisms about the way it doesn't feel, say, like something to The Mandalorian, but I think it speaks to right now in Lucasfilm, and this is something I appreciate. There's so many different creators, like a Dave Filoni and a Jon Favreau show. It has that level of these are people paying reverence to like the action figures that they had as a kid. They often use that analogy, and even you see like when they do previews, like they literally use action figures, and it is a different kind of connection and Star Wars joy that exists in the fandom. Whereas Andor is Tony Gilroy coming at it from, I don't really care about Star Wars, but I love this world and the story that I could tell using this world. As we're about to talk about here, all of these monologues, which are very like they have messages to them. He's using this as a vessel to say something, and I think that has a place in Star Wars too. I like both, but they are very different, and it's not for everyone. And just to tie in the Acolyte discussion earlier, Leslie Headland will be the first creative who's showrunner on a show who has been explicit about how much she loves. She's read all the books. She's played all the games. She's done all this. I can't think of any other Star Wars creative who's done that. So the Acolyte will be our first time we've seen an EU and a Legends like fan.
Yeah.
In one of
like
the
a
shows.
Star Wars sweaty.
She's
really
like a real
into
sweaty.
Right?
Yeah, she's really into it.
Is.
If you watch any interview, she'll like pull out, here's my essential atlas that I was looking at earlier today, and I like, she's into it.
And Dawn, I look, I'm super excited. Next Wednesday, I get to meet Dawn in real person, real life. She's going to come down to Cincinnati. I'm doing a presentation in front of a theater group in Cincinnati next week, and Dawn's going to come down. She's going to be my personal guest, and she's bringing some of her family along. She gets to sit at Santa's table. I got to go over here. Hello. I'll get to you, Nerd Mafia. I got to go back to Meg's super chat as well before we get too deep into here and I forget. So Meg did submit a super chat earlier, and Meg, I love you so much. It was fantastic in classic Meg super chat fashion as well, because she loves it. You'll see her style of a question kind of always follows this pattern. It says, Santa, the Phantom Menace, in the Phantom Menace, Yoda says he doesn't approve of Qui-Gon's training of Anakin. So my question is, completely unrelated, if you if you hadn't met Cotton Eye Joe, would you have been married a long time ago? Great. If you don't know the song.
Where did you come from, Santa?
Hey.
And where do you go?
Where'd you go?
Right. Right. Wonderful, Meg. I love the musical reference to an old American folk hymn or tune. American folk tune.
Folk hymn.
Not
I've
him.
never heard it
No.
referred to in that
Folk
way.
tune. Folk tune. And that it's such a deep cut from somebody who is in the UK. And just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, Meg. Nice job.
It plays on many, many levels, like much of Meg's genius, writing, and art. If I have to.
Exactly. Amen. 100%. And would I have been married a long time ago? I was married a long time ago and have been married a very long time. I got married when I was a teenager. I was 19 and my wife was 18 when we got married.
How many years you can brag?
36.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. It's been a hot minute. It's and I always say I don't necessarily recommend getting married as teenagers. We were young and dumb, and we thought we knew all the answers, and
Thanks
nobody
for
could tell
putting in
us.
the work for the rest of us. That's what we say. Thanks for doing the hard work.
Look, no, nobody could tell us what to do because we knew better, right? We were
Mon Mothma over here.
we were teenagers, and so you can't tell me what to do. I know.
Young love.
So, right, exactly. We're dumb, but look, it's worked out for us. We have had a wonderful marriage. We're enjoying the empty nest era of our lives. We're having just a great time. So, Nerd Mafia, also a $5 super chat. Thank you. Here's $5 minus a penny. I don't know where the penny went, but okay. Also, I just got kicked off my basketball team. Do you have any advice how I can cope? The best advice, Nerd Mafia, for coping with stress and difficulty in your life is watch more Star Wars. How about that?
Santa, he's setting you up with the word cope. You have to put in capital letters. Nope. But that's another
Hope.
insight. That's way
No,
inside.
you need more hope. Go watch A New Hope. There you go. How about that?
The chat. Let's chat. Oh, man.
And Baymax, you're going to be quite sad when your hoodie arrives and not the thong.
Demonetized, Levi.
Yeah, I've already ordered the hoodie for you, so no thong for you. Hey, the Chimera, good to see you again. All right, so let's get into these speeches, and I've got them in alphabetical order. The first one up is Luthen's. And I got the whole thing in text so that you can read it. And the question to him was, "What have you given up?" Right? Like, what have you sacrificed? And he says, "Calm, kindness, kinship, love." And he goes into the details. So, what do I sacrifice? Everything. Wonderful, wonderful speech. Secondly, we have Maarva's funeral speech, where she started off kind of saying, "Look, I've grown up here. This is my home." And she gets to the end and she says, "The Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness." Just absolutely brilliant writing, right? It is never more alive than when we sleep. It's easy for the dead to tell you to fight. Maybe it's true. Maybe fighting is useless. Perhaps it's too late, but I'll tell you this, if I could do it again, I'd wake up early and I'd be fighting those bastards from the start. Fight the Empire. And of course, there's a news story out that they actually changed a little bit of the text of this between when it was recorded and when it aired.
Yeah.
She didn't say fight the Empire. She said something else entirely. So and people who are astute and look at the lip reading of it can tell what the word is that she said, and it wasn't fight.
It rhymes with truck.
It does. It is. Exactly. And then the last one, Nemik's Manifesto. Nemik's Manifesto. This is what Luthen or what Cassian has been carrying around for some time, and we got to see it on the. No, Meg, I'm not going to say it. And don't. I'm going to stop you right now. I know you're getting ready to hit submit. Don't super chat it. I'm still not going to say it. If you super chat it, I'm not going to say it. I'm just don't do it. I know your finger's on the submit button now. You're putting in your banking information. Don't do it. Just stop. So there'll be times when the struggle seems impossible. I know this already. Alone, unsure, dwarfed by the scale of the enemy. Yeah, I feel called out. You should. You should. Meg. Yeah. This is a wonderful manifesto. I'm very happy that we heard it in its entirety. Like we were aware that Nemik had created this manifesto. We were aware that it existed, but it was great to actually get to see it, right? Or to get to hear it. So I've got it typed out so you can you can see.
I'll read it if you want me
to. Mike.
I would love to pretend to read it at a podium. I believe this manifesto is about choice or freedom. The other two, I don't know the key word exactly, but
yeah.
I believe this is choice. We have choice. I think that's what he's trying to say.
He's super chatting his former name, right? Nerd Mafia, formerly known as
the
best part of owner.
Formerly known as.
Yeah, Santa doesn't want your 10 quid. You're right, Meg. I just want your love and your friendship. That's all I need. Keep me warm at night.
Wholesome.
So. It's great. So of the three, which would you say is your favorite? And I'll let you throw in Kino's if you like.
I'll tell you what. I don't think Kino's for me. Like that moment that the prison break definitely gets there, but like the way that Cassian clearly, like even Cassian, like tells him to say certain things, so it doesn't. That one doesn't feel as organic as some of the other ones. All of them are great, right? But I would probably put Kino's on the bottom just because I don't think the moment has as much of effect as the other ones. In terms of these three, though, I mean, I think I'd have to go with Nemik, not only based on the content, but like the montage that you witness, that you see as it's cut together, Cassian like staring out as the rain's pouring, and this show does so much. You see who this guy is, who he's become, that at the end he's the guy who will say either you kill me or you take me. That's how dedicated he is now. Whereas Luthen, I think Luthen's is the best performance. I mean, he looks right at camera and he nails that. But it's about him, and it's a smaller, more character-driven moment, where I think Nemik's is about the whole thing. And obviously Maarva's is another, like, this is an awesome moment, and Brasso hitting the brick, like all that is great. But to me, it's got to be Nemik, because you just get so much. You get the message, and you get just the beautiful montage of like, here it is, and witness how these words have affected so many people.
Excellent.
I see you as a Nemik. Yeah, I hope that's a compliment.
Yeah,
Levi, like
yeah. Young, Mike,
forceful people.
Which would you take?
Well, I think Maarva's is the best for me, but not like my Rage Against the Machine fight the power thing. I touched on it a little bit, where she's talking about the wound and the pain, and I'm missing it now as we scroll down here.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny how I just saw it and now I don't. But
I put it back up.
For me, I don't know. There's something about the pain that she's in, and then that goes to the sacrifice that maybe Luthen's talking about, but the fight because she's in the pain. That's what I like about that speech specifically. And the one thing that it's hard about Maarva's speech for me is like I fell into the pre-plotting. I wanted her to blow herself up or something. Like I wanted her to be really punk. And so I don't know, my heart was a little disconnected from her speech. Like I love strong women too much, and it broke my heart a little bit. The mom son thing, I don't know. It's confusing sometimes.
Look, I get it. I totally get it. And I kind of go into this secondary level. Like I start to look at the writing, like not in universe, like the speech itself, but the quality of the writing that created that speech for the show that is also like the layers of it. I just find it so deep and so fascinating to look at. Like somebody wrote this as part of it, and it is so all of them, Kino's, Maarva's, Luthen's, Nemik's, they're all just absolutely brilliant, and heart tugging, powerful speeches. That somebody has that level of writing just blows my mind. Right? It's unbelievable. Just to have one speech.
Or you've seen those types of shows. I mean, this is like the West Wing of Star Wars. I mean, sorry, the quote was, "There is a wound that won't heal at the center of the galaxy. There is a darkness reaching like rust into everything around us. We let it grow, and now it's here. It's here, and it's not visiting anymore. It wants to stay." So for me, as someone that has to do a lot of healing, like it spoke to me, and the fight is out of the pain, I think sometimes. And so that's what the rebellion is for me. And I really care about the strong women in the rebellion. Like General Leia, she's me. I'm a person that literally has the same brain as Carrie. And so like, I love the women of Star Wars. And so again, Maarva for me.
Look, I think that's wonderful. But I didn't answer, which is my favorite. I have to say Nemik's Manifesto to me, because I saw some really strong connections to like World War One. I could see some parallels to like American or to world history and like socio-political powers, and thinking about how applicable it is to the world that we live in. When you have Russia occupying Ukraine, when we have this terrible superpower running over a developing country, if you want to say it that. I mean, that's technically the word of when you start to break down what's first world, what's third world, what's a developing country is third world. Not that any country is not developing, but that's how they're classified. So you look at Ukraine as a developing country. Russia is like, and purposefully I'll say this, the bear in the room, right? Like they're this huge bear. And,
the cocaine bear.
Funny, because there was a trailer out for a new movie today. I saw that, the cocaine bear. It's a thing. It actually ate like $1 million worth of cocaine.
I think that's Michael referencing. If I had to guess,
I know it is. So for me, it's Nemik for all those reasons. But the writing itself is so good. So I'm gonna take a stab at this. I see what Meg's doing. She wants me to butcher my British accent, right? Because I can't do accents.
I think this is more terrible. Scottish. I'd go with Scottish if I read this.
Scottish? Well, I'm going to just do a terrible American one. How about that? I'm just going to own it. Like when Melvin's in the room, I'm like, yep, I'm a fake fan shill. That's me. I'm just going to own it. So terrible American accent trying to read a British thing that might be Scottish. I'm not sure. So here we go. It says,
I can't ahead your prosody is in the accent.
I can't promise you a cup of tea. I ain't gonna rub you back after a longin', but I know this: the Empire can get beat. Ferrix is me home. Me nan lived there. All right. Where's the off button?
Yeah. Ferrix is me home. It's gotta hit the Linus Mosque.
So you can clip it. You can save it. It'll be great. Cockney English.
Hey, Stan, can I speak to? I agree that for me, all four completely nail it, and I see why Levi says the prison one doesn't. For me, the prison one is just as
I think
socially relevant.
Yeah, no, I think the prison one does nail it. It's just,
Yeah.
and I sent a message in the chat like that performance is so. If we're having to compare them, is so wrapped up in Kino Loy and Andy Serkis's performance and that arc as a whole, and it's specifically in the context of that prison. Obviously, there's other things being said in that prison, but it's so specific to that moment. Whereas I think Nemik's is even broader, and the words are more timeless.
Well, yeah,
him saying like we're in control of the cell blocks, like there's part of that speech that is still tied to the plot. Whereas I don't know.
And I think
great.
I think his gets better after you still see how it ends.
Yeah, with the
right, because
when he dies,
with this,
and he's dead completely.
Well,
that's why it's a good arc, because he's dead.
He may not be dead.
Allegedly,
if he's not dead, that's as dumb as Luthen's ship for me. Sorry,
fair enough.
Needs to be dead.
Fair enough. I know. I think it's after the fact, knowing that he is facing death, whether or not he is actually dead. Right? He knows,
knowing that he couldn't get out. He was never getting out.
Yeah. Meg's asking me to check Discord. I'm afraid. Meg. I'm afraid.
So Levi, I wonder if you're I've just unfortunately got so much cynicism because I'm just so much older. Like the military industrial complex that they're talking about there is really what's happening with Ukraine and Russia to me. Like I can't divorce all four of those, but I totally see what you mean within the context of that arc.
I mean, yeah, the prison, but he's literally building the machine that will kill him. He'll give his life to destroy the machine that killed. Like all that is there.
Another level. Yeah, that's another level.
Like I don't disagree with any of what you're saying. It's just that it just hits a little bit harder the other ones. And to the point I wanted to make was, I think since do you want to address Meg's thing, Santa, before I?
Well, I'm going to assume, Meg, you're talking about. Oh, okay, I see what she did. I thought maybe she was talking about her After Dark channel, where you can see the cake. By the way,
cake. Yeah,
you've been warned. Don't uncover that. You don't want to see it. But in any event, she put.
Put it this way: Apex a dick.
So she put Maarva's full speech in her Andor spoilers. So I will encourage folks, if you are not a member of Star Wars Meg's Discord server, what are you doing with your life? You should do it. You should join, support her on Patreon, do all the things, give her all your money. No, I kid.
Really,
you should.
Isn't just a subscriber. A real Megalorian is down dirty into the jibber jabber.
The jibber jabber, and all of that. You can find all of the jibber jabber on Meg's channel, because she skips it on her videos, but you can find her jibber jabber in her Discord, and so go do that. You could see it in her Andor spoilers channel.
This has become a Meg ad.
Yeah.
Ad read for Meg.
Go ahead, Levi. Sorry about that.
Well, all of these speeches, but I think the reason I picked Nemik's, but all of them, they provide an intellectual backing to, I think, one of the most oft made fun of things about newer Star Wars, detractors of Star Wars, and it comes from Rogue One. Like, people often forget it's Cassian who first says to Jyn, "Rebellions are built on hope," and that whole theme has been played out a lot in modern Star Wars, and people, some people make fun of it. But then obviously Jyn reciting it is a very iconic moment. But that whole line of "Rebellions are built on hope," and understanding through this show how he got there, through this, not only like literally this manifesto, but through the ideas that we're seeing laid out through all of these speeches and the different parts. Like Luthen he is not built on hope. Kinda, but this man is built, him and Saw are built on something else. They have a lot of pain and hatred. They have a good end. I think they want good things, but in my opinion, they go about it the wrong way, right? And that's what you see ultimately is Mon Mothma leads the rebellion a different way. And you have that great moment in Rebels Season 4 where that's one of my favorite moments in Star Wars, where Mon Mothma and Sagar are just yelling at each other. But they like seeing this debate and then how the whole rebellions are built on hope thing can stand later and exist in Rogue One, exist in Obi-Wan Kenobi, exist in The Mandalorian or whatever, seeing that theme, but having this there to be like, look, as a viewer, be like, look at this. This is why rebellions are built on hope. And that is why Nemik's over all the others sets it above, because I think it elevates a line that may be initially cheesy, but really it means a lot more. And
so let me throw something out here, because I agree with what you're saying, and you're getting a lot of support in the chat as well. I agree with you. There is a criticism out there that says, look, Star Wars writing, George Lucas wasn't this good of a writer, like as far as dialogue, right? Like George Lucas's dialogue was cheesy, campy, and terrible, right? Like there's famous quotes where they're like, yeah, he can write it, but try to say it. Like, this is terrible stuff. And it's become campy. It's part of, sand. It's rough. It's coarse. It gets everywhere, right? Like, there's all those kind of things where it's like, oh, so terrible. Is the writing too good to be Star Wars?
No. No. Because because Star Wars, like clarify the question. Star Wars as a movie, like from George's movies, or
Star Wars as a franchise.
It's a higher reading comprehension level than more of the difficult novels.
As I was saying,
as a novel,
it feels like a book,
right? And even a good, in-depth, middle of the trilogy Thrawn novel is not as politically complicated or as high level reading. It's a reading comprehension level thing that people in the fandom might not want to talk about. For me,
I was just about to say, like, a Zahn novel has always been similarly dense in the existence of Star Wars. But if you're talking about George's writing specifically, I think maybe if you wanted to make like the intellectual argument that this is too good for Star Wars, but in terms of the franchise, as long as publishing has been a thing, there's been a wide range of, and this is one of the things first said when I saw the first 3 episodes, and the reason why I love it so much is it feels like a book. It feels like even if The Mandalorian is literally chapters, it's still more an ode to serialized television, like Flash Gordon. Whereas this is literally, you are turning each page and you're getting all of these moments with these characters that you just don't get in other mediums. And to me, I don't know, this has always been in Star Wars, but I could see where you're coming from if it's like George's versus this.
Right. It's funny how that works, though, because you get just a little bit of Cobb Vanth with maybe So Thirsty. Like, Cobb is so good in The Mandalorian because you get so little.
Yeah.
Both are good. They're just different. Yeah.
It is different. It is different. And Meg asked, did I see Denise's comments about running into Ian McDermott? Catch Meg's video from today, because she does cover it, and I saw it in your video, Meg. It's great. She ran into him, and there was a little back and forth. I won't give away all of it. Go watch Meg's video if you haven't seen it.
Ian just lives at Pinewood. He just lives at Pinewood on a cot.
No, that was my question. I was like, well, how did they run into each other?
I'm with you too, because Meg says don't read into this. That means that he's in the show.
I would read into it.
I'm like, well, how else am I supposed to read it, Meg?
Does anybody really know what's his next big acting gig? I mean, is he doing this? Is like, what's his big last performance going to be? Is it going to be some big Shakespeare thing that's very localized, or is he going to do a voice acting thing that puts him? Who knows what his career is going to do?
Yeah,
he's healthy. He can do whatever he wants.
Exactly. I think that. Why else would he be at Pinewood, as you brought up? He just got a cot there. He just, she accidentally walked into his bedroom. Oh, sorry. No, right. Yeah, Meg, there's no way Ian was accidentally at Starbucks outside the set. I'm with you. There was something going on. He's there for a reason.
He's probably doing ADR for something.
I don't think he's doing some extra shooting for Indiana Jones. Let's put it that way.
Probably not.
I think that's great. Hey, I've had fun hanging out with you guys today. We've done our hour. I've got work to get back to, and Levi, it's been too long. It's good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you too.
And thanks for hanging out, Jedi Mike. Thank you again. And for folks that don't know, Levi and his friends have a YouTube channel called All New Nerds. All New Nerds. They also have a Discord where you can chat with them, and they've got some great insights. And the great thing about them is they can talk about things more than just Star Wars. So if you like nerdy things, you like other franchises and other content, you should be sure to check out All New Nerds and check out their content. And Levi's very famous in the Star Wars community for his bold, hot takes.
For better or for worse.
But anyway, I love Levi, his great friend, and great to have you here. We have a Mike Porter dad joke. You guys, this is a lot of fun. It says, if the Resistance celebrated Christmas, they have Life Day after all, but if the Resistance celebrated Christmas, what would their favorite holiday song be? Let it po, let it po, let it po.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Mike Porter, thank you so much for that. You guys, if you haven't followed Mike Porter on Twitter, the link to his Twitter account, because it's tough to find a Mike Porter. Like if you go to Twitter and you just search Mike Porter, good luck. But I've got the link to Mike Porter's profile, his Twitter account, in the description. You can find it there. Meg says, "Let it snoke." We get back to we go back to my friend Will Morgan. Will Morgan is convinced that there's a connection between Andy Serkis and Snoke. He is sure of it. He's like, I'm pretty sure that Snoke guy is Andy Serkis. No, I'm joking. That's not what he said. he's saying that the Kino Loy, his accent is too similar to Snoke's to be a coincidence, and that Andy Serkis has a dynamic range of acting ability, and that there's a reason he spoke with the same inflections that Snoke had, and it's not because he's Andy Serkis and doing both roles. So
it's far out, man.
It is. Hey, Astromech Jeremy. Thank you, my friend. Wonderful. Look, Astromech Jeremy's a great dude. He's really cool too. He does plays and acting and stuff, and he's got to do some stuff on stage with some very famous people. He's a really cool dude. So you guys, thanks so much. I'll let you guys. I'm having trouble with the Stream Deck and with Melon, so I'm not going to do the outro. We're just going to end it here, and if you guys want to hang out and talk after the show, just hang out for a minute, and I'll be right back. All right. So you guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for having this discussion. It's been fun to see you all. Again, if you want to schedule some Christmas visits with Santa Claus, you'd like to do that. Follow the links below. You can find us on NorthPoleWirelessFun.com. You can join there. There's all kinds of great stuff there. And if you want to schedule a virtual visit directly with me, you can do that in Gig Salad there as well. So, Dawn, see you next week. Meg, love you, my friend. And until next time, my friends, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, and may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye.